How do you derive your sense of identity? How do you identify yourself? Maybe it's based on your title at work or the roles you play in the different relationships you're in. Mom, husband, spouse, friend, boss, coworker. How do you identify yourself? As I look back at our readings for this week, I think Paul has something to say about our identity. I think he is writing to the Colossians and saying, I know exactly who you are. Because you have died and been raised with Christ, which means that more than you are anything, you are a new human. That's your identity. You are a new human and a child of God. You are a daughter, a son of the Father. More than you are anything, that is who you are. But did you notice as you were reading Colossians 3, 1 through 17, it's almost like Paul contradicts himself. He presents us this identity that we're a new self. That word self, the Greek word underneath it is human. You're a new human, a new self. But he keeps telling us that we still need to put on the new self. He tells us that we have put off the old self, as if that was a past event. But he tells us to keep putting off the old self. So which is it, Paul? Have I put off my old self, or do I need to do that now? Have I put on my new self, or do I need to do that? To those questions, I think Paul would answer with a resounding yes. Yes, you are a new human. That is a fact. And you are invited, Paul says, to become who you already are, to inhabit this new identity, to be renewed by the Spirit of God. So he tells us that we need to continue to put off the old self because God wants to peel away the behaviors and the thoughts within us that are unhealthy and unhelpful. He wants to heal us from the wounds. And we're invited to put on the new self because he wants to plant more good things in us, to make us more like Jesus, to make us more healed and more whole. So it is both true that you are a new human. That's a fact. And that the invitation is to become more of who you already are. I don't know what version of the gospel you grew up with, or perhaps you didn't grow up in church, but I know for me, the gospel I was raised with was very focused on the afterlife. What comes after this? And that's not bad. It's just not complete. Because part of the gospel speaks to what happens in this life. And I think one of the aspects of what makes the gospel so good is that God promises me that I am not yet a finished product. That there is a true Elizabeth that he created me to be, and that as long as I walk this earth in this body and open myself up to him and to the transformation of the Spirit, he wants to keep making me more and more into the person that he made me to be. And that's true for you too. You and I, we are not a finished product, and that is good news. There is more healing that God wants to accomplish in me. There are old habits and unhelpful beliefs and behavior patterns and ways of relating to people that he wants to strip away so that he can put more of Jesus inside of me, that I can grow more in humility and compassion and love and gentleness, that I would become more of the Elizabeth that he made me to be. It's true for you too. You are a new human, complete in Jesus. And you are invited to become more of who you already are, to be transformed, to experience flourishing, health, wholeness, to become more like Jesus, to be a better reflection of him on earth, to be a better vessel of God's love pouring through you and out to other people. And that is part of what makes the gospel so good, is that the Spirit, if you surrender to Him, is working to do that even now. So I don't know where this lands for you, friends, but I have a suspicion that there might be some of you out there who need to sit with this truth about your identity. I know it can be hard to believe that this is true, that you are a new human and a child of God, and that is how the Father sees you when He looks at you. But it is true. Paul says it's a fact. Would you pray that the Spirit would help you trust what is hard to believe? That He would communicate it to your heart in a way that it can sink deeper. That you would, in the words of the man who comes up to Jesus, say to Him, I believe, Lord, help my unbelief. Help me to trust what is hard to believe. That I am a new human and a child of God, and that is how you see me, regardless of my past, regardless of what other people say about me, regardless of the soundtrack that plays in my mind. Help me to believe that that is what is true. Or maybe what you need is this invitation to transformation. Would you sit and invite with the Spirit today to show you what God wants to accomplish in you right now? To make you more healthy and whole and complete, to help you experience flourishing and become the you that God made you to be. What is His invitation for you right now? Would you ask Him that? And ask Him for a step in that direction. You are a new human, friend. And you are invited to become more of who you already are. Take care.